and welcome to our Anaerobic Culture Cost Calculator. So this video is basically just going to detail how to use the cost calculator. First things first, you're going to see two options here. Your anaerobic bag system cost and your anaerobic jar system cost. This depends on what you're using in the laboratory currently. With this walkthrough, we're going to go with the bag system. If you're using a jar system, just click this right here. Your input variables will change to be more in line with the sort of consumables that are associated with the jar system. But like I said, we're going to do anaerobic bag system for this walkthrough. For the first variable, we're looking at primary plates per sample. So how many anaerobic plates am I streaking per specimen? For this walkthrough, I'm going to say we're doing 3 plates. We are doing a Brucella, a KVL, and a PEA. So that's 3 primary plates per sample. Next, how many samples are you putting into a bag? So with this previous variable, I said I'm doing 3 plates per sample. And I use a bag system that only holds 4 plates. So I can only put 1 sample per bag in there. Now, if you were in a situation where you were only doing 2 primary plates per sample, and you have a bag capacity of 4 plates, you could do 2 samples per bag. And it's just dependent on what you're doing in the laboratory. But for this walkthrough, we're saying 1 sample per bag, because I like to keep those plates together in the same bag. Okay. Next, we're just looking at plate costs. So for this example, we'll say I'm using your Brucella, your KVL, and your PEA. They all cost exactly the same at $2.20 per plate. If you were in a scenario in which you were using your plates had different costs, so say my Brucella was only $1.50, my KVL was $2.30, and my PEA was $2 flat. I would just simply take an average of those 3 costs and plug that into this input. Next, we'll look at OxyPlate cost per plate. So for this input variable, I would reach out to an Oxyrase rep and they can get you an appropriate price quote based on your situation. Otherwise, you can use the list price that's available in our catalog. Just scroll up to the top, go to our products overview, and then hit our products, and you can scroll down to where the OxyPlates are and plug in that value. But like I said, I would recommend reaching out to a rep, and they will get you an appropriate quote based on number of variables. But for this walkthrough, I'm going to say I got quoted at $3.90 per plate. Next, this is really the meat of the calculator here. And this is where it gets tricky when you're trying to calculate this total cost by yourself. And these are the costs associated with the anaerobic bag. So the first variable I see right here is your sachet box cost. So when I'm buying sachets, they come in a box of 20 sachets, and that sachet box cost me $44.30, and I get 20 sachets out of that. So that's exactly what I'm going to input, $44.30, and I get 20 sachets per box. Great. So that variable is good, and it's kind of rinse and repeat here with the next 2 sets of input variables. My anaerobic bag. So the actual plastic bag, it again cost me $13.64. And it's, I get 20 bags per box of those anaerobic bags. So I'll put 20 right there. Lastly, indicator pack cost. So I'm able to get my indicators in a pack of 100, and that pack of 100 cost me $37.21. So I'll put that in, and 100 per pack. And as you can see, that graph is already populating. So this first, at 0 regassing events, this is just going to be your initial setup cost. So for the bag system, $9.87, and for the OxyPlate cost, it's going to be $12.12. So right off the bat, it comes in with the bag system a bit cheaper than the OxyPlate system. But here what you can notice is that the OxyPlate offers a fixed cost across 4 different regassing events. With that first regassing event, so after 48 hours, you check on your plates, you take them out of the bag, you investigate for growth, sub, ID, whatever it may be, but you need to re-incubate those plates after that first incubation. And that requires a new sachet and a new indicator. So that's where you see that added $3 and just about $3. And so on and so forth. You can see that there's an added cost each time you're regassing that bag. And that's what this calculator calculates. It really makes it simple. Right here is just a different output format into a table format. And what you can see is that, at initial setup, 0 regassing events, your bag is about $9.87. Your OxyPlate's $12.12. So the bag system is actually cheaper, about $2.25 cheaper. And as you regas, you're adding in cost, so you can see where the OxyPlate is going to save you money. And lastly, this is our sort of cost variable summary, so you can double check to make sure that these were calculated correctly, which they should 100% of the time be calculated correctly. But for peace of mind, I included this. And you can see that, for that regassing event, 0, the initial bag consumables includes the sachet cost, the bag cost, and the indicator cost. And that comes out to about $3.26, 27 cents. And with each regassing event, you're going to incur a cost, an additional cost of $2.59. And that's just the sachet and indicator that you're having to replace each time. So that kind of gives you a hint into, where these increases in cost come from. And you can see right here, outputs, a line here that tells you that your anaerobic bag system cost exceeds OxyPlates after 1 regassing event. So really makes it simple for you guys. And the last sort of functionality of this calculator is generating a report. So it will actually take all of those input variables, take the table, and sort of give some next steps for you guys. If you click it, and you'll see right there it pops up, and you can just click to open it, and it will put out a nice pretty report for you guys with all your variables summarized, your cost per sample analysis in that table output, and then sort of the key findings and recommendations that come afterwards. So that pretty much sums up everything there is to know about the calculator. Now, looking at the anaerobic jar system cost, it's pretty much a rinse and repeat situation. The sort of unique input variables would be sachets per run. So I know some jars will require 1 sachet, others will require 3 sachets. So that's sort of just dependent on the type of jar you're using. And lastly, if you'd like to, you can factor in the actual cost of the jar. Right now, the calculator just will use the sachet and indicator cost. But if you'd like to, you can include the cost of the jar itself. So we'll say that my jar cost me $400 up front, and the lifespan of that jar is, I do 1,000 runs on that jar per year, and the jar is supposed to last me 10 years. So 1,000 times 10, that's 10,000. And that's sort of an easier way to get to that total runs number. Just estimate how many runs you do a year and I believe it's pretty standard for these jars to last anywhere from 5 to 10 years. You can reach out to your manufacturer and get a hard number on that. But other than that, it's pretty much the same as the anaerobic bag calculator. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and reach out to us. You can go to this button, the Contact Us button. Give us a call if you'd like, or if you prefer email, I would recommend emailing our technical service or sales, whichever you prefer, and a rep from Oxyrase will be more than happy to help you guys out with any questions you may have. So that does it for this video. Thank you for taking some time to learn about that cost calculator. It's in our resources section. And again, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be more than happy to help you. All right, thank you.